The quantity demanded is the amount of a good that consumers would be willing and able to purchase in a given time period if the suppliers are willing and able to sell an infinite amount at the market price. It is the number of times consumers would put money on the table and say to producers, "Give me another one." Americans often say, "Give me," when they really mean sell to me. So again, the quantity demanded is saying how many times would somebody actually purchase the item if the sellers were willing to sell them as many as they wanted and were able to purchase. A change in price affects the quantity demanded. According to the law of demand, an increase in price makes the quantity demanded decrease, and a decrease in price makes the quantity demanded increase. These statements are true when all other non-price determinants of the quantity demanded remain constant. It means, or the law of demand means, that if price increases and the change in price is the only thing that affects consumer behavior, the quantity demanded decreases, and if price decreases and all else is equal, the quantity demanded increases. Here are some examples. When are you more likely to buy soda or many cans of soda? When the price of soda at the beach is high or when it's low? When do you tend to buy more? When a store is having a sale or at regular prices? I've had you read some examples in the notes about the effect of lower prices on the consumption of natural gas. As fracking has reduced the price at which we can purchase natural gas, people are buying more natural gas. Had to read some examples of what happens when the price of cigarettes goes up. As the price of cigarettes rises, some people do quit smoking, and many people do reduce their consumption of cigarettes. Evidence shows that even for a good that is addictive, when prices rise, the quantity demanded of that product decrease, all else equal. Final example is the difference between consumption of gasoline in Venezuela and Colombia. The government of Venezuela subsidizes the gasoline, and the gasoline there is very cheap. And that's one of the reasons that people in Venezuela use 7 times as much gasoline as people in Colombia, even though their economies and incomes are very similar. The relationship between the price of a good and the quantity demanded is inverse because rational people respond predictably to incentives. As the price rises, the opportunity cost of purchasing the good increases, and people will buy less of it and buy more of goods whose prices have not changed. For example, as the price of hamburgers increases, some people will substitute hot dogs for hamburgers, and some people will substitute steak for hamburgers. The demand curve plots the relationship between price and quantity demanded when all else is equal. We measure price on the vertical axis, and we measure quantity on the horizontal axis. The horizontal distance to a point on the curve is the quantity demanded at that price. The vertical distance is the highest price consumers will pay for the last unit. Let's look at point A. Point A shows that when price is $8, the quantity demanded is 50. The horizontal distance to the demand curve when price is 8 is 50. That means the quantity demanded is 50 when the price is $8. Point A also shows that when the quantity is 50, the most consumers are willing to pay is $8. The vertical distance up to point A measures how much they're willing to pay for the 50th unit, or consumers are willing to pay $8 to increase the output from 49 to 50. As price increases and all else remains constant, consumers move up and to the left along the demand curve, and the quantity demanded decreases. For example, when price goes from $8 up to $9, consumers move from point A to point B, and the quantity demanded falls from 50 to 40. As the price decreases and all else is equal, consumers move down and to the right along the demand curve, and the quantity demanded increases. For example, as price goes from 9 to 8, we move from point B to point A, and as a result, the quantity demanded goes from 40 to 50.